All set? All right. It is now time for inspiration and thought exchange brought to us by today's speaker, Debra Vegh, and her spirit name is Raven. I'm gonna see if my phone will give me her. I want to get a bio up here. Hold on a minute. Ooh, I got my phone working. Okay. We invite everyone to address our assembly with words of inspiration, lessons learned, or passionate ideas. Every opinion expressed here is strictly that of the person who gives it. Let us consciously and lovingly agree to disagree if it does not resonate with us. What's your topic today, Raven?
Earth-based healing through ritual and ceremony.
Okay, earth-based healing through ritual and ceremony. All right. It is my pleasure to present. Raven, come on up. Raven Hart has been a member of the Church of the Angels since 2015. She was ordained as a spiritual minister in 2017. She is a medium, creator of earth, doula, and grief ceremonialist. She is a certified grief recovery specialist, a shamanic healing arts practitioner, shamanic ecotherapy guide, and a shamanic experience facilitator. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't miss anything.
No,
Okay,
you
good.
got it.
Okay. Okay, Deborah, it's all yours.
Thank you so much.
Move this out of your way.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
Oop.
Thank you for allowing me to be of service. I'll try to be. Is that too loud? Am I too loud? Okay. All right. Oh.
Oh, here you go.
Hello, Zoom participants. Nice to have you in our energy space. And I'm so grateful to be here. So just let's take a moment and just helps me get centered. If you can take a deep breath with me, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So there we are. That's my talk. That's all you have to do. Is stand outside barefoot with Mother Earth and take a few deep breaths. And that's all you need to do for healing and ceremony and ritual, earth-based. And when I chose this topic, I was going to sit down and do a ton of research on sweat lodges and do a ton of research on ceremonies. And I got the message and the big download that all I really need to do is share my own experience. And that's all I can speak from anyway. And most of you know I'm a big lover of Mother Earth. And every time I get a little off and things are starting to go sideways and my life are going haywire and chaos, it's because I'm not spending time with Mother Earth and I'm not spending time in nature and I'm not doing what I need to do. I'm working too much or I'm too stressed in the house and I'm trying to do other things. And she always has such a powerful way to call me back to her. I was going over some pictures couple days ago and on an old computer, and I was looking for one I had taken of the Chagrin River. I can't remember even what year it was, but I remember taking the picture and I remember looking at it and flipping it on my phone. And what I saw in the mirror image was like a totem. And so I had to find that so I could bring it in and show it to you. But as I was looking for this photo, I wanted to share it with Chris. I found in 2007, which was the beginning of this series of photos that I downloaded on this old computer, was a medicine wheel. And I had just saved it. And at the time, I wasn't in any type of practice using the indigenous Native American traditional medicine wheel. I wasn't going to sweat lodges yet. In fact, at that point, in 2007, I was in a starting of a very dark night in my soul. I had relapsed in 2004. I'd been keeping it under control. I was working a lot. I was doing great in my business. Actually, I was making a ton of money and I was working and partying all the time. And in 2007, things were really starting to fall apart then. And they got even worse for the next 2 years. But it was Mother Earth that called me back to her. And some of you know the story of the resurrection tree of my yard in the summer of 2008 when things were really bad. It was a beautiful summer, I remember. And on Sundays, even though I was working 6 days a week, I was partying all the time. I mean, I was working 10, 12, 14 hours. I was making a ton of money. And I had this beautiful house I had purchased a couple of years ago. But in the yard, there was this tree that had been cut down. And I found out later it was a sassafras tree, but at the time I didn't know. And I don't know when it was cut down because I'd only purchased the house a couple years before. But that summer I was barefoot in my yard on that Sunday. And most Sundays I would spend outside, and which was a blessing, because that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm still standing here. So I was in my yard barefoot, and I walked up to this tree and I saw these shoots growing out alongside of it. Some of you heard the story, and I continue to repeat it because it is so powerful, and it's such a powerful example of how Mother Earth calls us. And this is a ritual we can all participate in. Being barefoot on the earth is called earthing. And it's where you just, you spend time making that connection through your soul. So that's one ritual you can do, that daily ritual. And I do that daily now. So I walked out there and I saw these shoots growing up around this tree stump. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, is that possible that this tree could resurrect itself like that? And it was just such a beautiful, peaceful, healing moment when I just had that thought. And that's how it comes in, it's just, can be just one thought, one moment, something that shifts our whole perspective. Now, I would love to say right then and there, oh, that was the moment and my life got great. No, it still took a little while. And it took a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow and things I'd gone through, but it was, now I understand, it's what shamanic and indigenous and tribes and things refer to. And a lot of philosophers and a lot of people that work with the mind call it the dark night of the soul. And I was going through it pretty heavily. But the other thing that I've noticed in journaling is I look back and I read things, and I would get glimpses of spirit and glimpses of things. And sometimes I had a computer time in a blackout. I would be typing and I don't even know. I know it wasn't from me. So it's like going back and reflecting on those things now is just so powerful, and how we're always loved and protected, even in those times of sorrow and pain. And we're having to go through that shamanic, what I see now as a shamanic death and a resurrection of my own life. So that was in 2007, 2008, 2009, So going forward, around 2015 is when I was finally introduced to sweat lodges. And sweat lodges are very, very powerful ceremony and very healing. And if you've never had a chance to participate one, I suggest it's something that is just absolutely has changed my life. And around then also, 2015 was, I found Lilydale, I found you guys. I just, all of this was happening, but it took like all these years and these little practices. And I started hiking as a woman by myself in the woods. I was always afraid to do that. But one day I was just like, I'm doing it. And I did it. And I fell in love with the West Woods. And in the West Woods, it was when I first started hiking there was one day I was walking around. And this is another daily ritual you can do, is just observing what is going around you. Take that moment and pause in nature, in earth, and just observe, watching the rays of the sun come through the leaves, watching the birds and the animals that come to you, and just really, and looking at and finding out the symbolism of them. And you'll find that Mother Earth is always working with us to help us heal. And we can do those rituals. And these are daily rituals that you can do. And they're super easy, and they just don't even take, minutes of your time. And it just changes things, and it shifts the perspective. And it's interesting. I went to a Journey to Light weekend with John White and Lilydale, and I think about it too, because when I give messages up here, a lot of times it is Mother Earth speaking through me, giving people the message to get out in earth, get your hands in the dirt. And that's another thing that happened too. I just had this thought in 2013, my salon, which is a whole nother story. Some of you heard it, the burning bush story, but came crashing down. And that summer I remember just wanting my hands in the dirt. I was like in my yard, just digging up stones. I don't even know why. I just needed, and now I realize it was Mother Earth healing me when I couldn't heal myself. I'd also put in a fire pit around that time, and intuitively, I just put in the directions. I didn't even know what I was doing, and I bought myself a little pipe, and I'm out there just not like a sacred indigenous pipe, just a pipe. And so I'd light the pipe and say a prayer, and I'd dance around and sing songs. And this was just all intuitively happening, and I was just following that. So the power of healing through just these things that come into our mind is like, oh, just do, get some tobacco, light a pipe, say a prayer. I don't know why you're doing it, but do it, and it'll change things. And after I, have my hands in the dirt, digging up stones, creating this fire pit in this circle, that's when sweat lodges came in. And I can't say I was really invited. I knew a friend that was going to them, and I'm like, you need to tell me where you're going now. and I was so excited to find out it was actually this woman named Mary Lou, and she actually had property just 2 spaces over from the church. So it was like that whole summer, the church and this whole area here just became very, very symbolic and very healing for me, just being here and in this space. And so I remember showing up for the first time, and it was amazing. You had the fire, you have the grandmother's stones, you have the steam, the water, all the elements of earth. You have the altar for the prayer, and you have the lodge, which becomes mother's womb, where you're in there. And I just, if you've never had a chance to participate in one, I highly recommend it. So that was one thing, that was a big thing in my life. So life's progressing, and I'm coming here, I got ordained, and then my marriage fell apart, of course, because that's what happens when you get to these places and you're not on the same page spiritually. So, and so then I went through that, and a lot of, deaths in my family, and just all these things. But what really kept me grounded was those practices with earth, was grounding, was the fire ceremonies, was coming here, was being loved, was participating with earth. So in the process of all that and everything coming down and crashing and burning again around me, I'm like, here I am again. But what I've recognized too, and I spoke of it many times, is I do believe that the universe, things will circle back around. All right, let's see. You've had the initiation, you've had the dark night of the soul. Let's throw something there to see how you're going to react this time. And I know for me, that's where things change, when I change the way I react and I change my behavior. And so when all this was happening again, this time around, I didn't have to pick up. I didn't have to relapse. I had tools, and I had these rituals and practices that I could carry me through. I had a place of love, you guys, the congregation. And in that, I was also saying yes to things that were coming about. And on Facebook one day, I saw an invite for or an event. I wasn't even invited again. I just I saw it and said yes, and it was for Wild Earth, Wild Soul weekend, and it was up at Alfelder House, which was right around the corner. And that seemed to happen too. It's like things like when I went to Lilydale, I Googled the spiritualist church. I'm like, oh, you guys are 10 minutes down the road. This is amazing, And so it was just, everything was around me already. And it was just me showing up and saying yes. And in that weekend, I was introduced to a lot of beautiful people that would change my life. Chris was actually one of them that was there. He was a facilitator. And I also learned shamanic drumming. And if no one's ever done shamanic drumming, I would like to do a quick little, will you keep a track on time? I didn't look, so we're good. Okay. So I'm going to take you through just a little, if everybody's okay with that, a little shamanic drumming experience. Usually when I do shamanic drumming workshops, it's a 2-hour, and we'll do like 3 different shamanic drumming experiences that last about 20 minutes each. Then we'll have time to journal. But what I would like to do, and if you would like to participate, if there's nobody that wants to, you can raise your hand now. Anybody not want to do this? Okay. Shamanic journeying is like an awakened dream, but it's all, and you can connect with your spirit guides. But first you have to establish a sacred grove. And when I talk about the West Woods and finding, when I started hiking, one day when I was in the West Woods, I noticed and observed this tree that was cut down, and it looked like a white arrow and some of you have heard me tell this story too, that was pointing to this, the way the sun was on this tree that was being held by these ground roots, looked like a white arrow. I was like, I got to check that out. And I went there and I saw this tree and I painted her. And that's another thing you can do as ritual is bring nature into your art. And I do believe that's how art started, was in the caves with the cavemen, and they started painting on the caves. So I painted her, and that's like one of the first paintings I've ever done. I've only done 4 in my life, so I brought it today. But that's where my sacred grove is space in the West Woods with this tree that has this angel cut in, like she's in there in the tree somehow, and there's all these stones like she's holding court. And so when I journey, that's where I start. It's a sacred grove. So that's what I want to help you, or what I want to guide you today, is to come to your sacred grove. And so we don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to drum and guide you there, and then you'll be able to see it, and it'll be a place you can go back to. And you can Google shamanic drumming on YouTube, and there's a lot of Brian Metcalf. He's one that I really like to use a lot when I'm doing my own, and eventually I would like to record some of my own. But okay, so just get comfortable, feet flat on the floor. Oh, my drums.
Do
Hmm?
you want to show your picture?
Oh, you want me to show that? Well, it's okay. It's not very good. Yeah, this is, yeah, and it's a pretty tall maple tree. And when I followed the white arrow, this is what it looked impregnant on the outside of it, where the white arrow of the tree had fallen. And I went around the corner and she was in this tree, and I call her the angel of the Westwood. So
Did our Zoom folks get to see that, Ern?
yeah. So do I have to stand in front of this microphone to do the drumming, or can you turn that?
Anywhere you want.
Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody get comfortable and close your eyes. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow the rhythm of the drum and listen to the sound of my voice. So right now you see a meadow, a really long grassy meadow. Smell the air, the grass. Might be a breeze going over the grass and the blades. The sun's just starting to set and shining through the leaves, the trees that surround in this meadow. You see a forest up ahead at the edge of the meadow. Start walking towards that forest. Really absorbing and observing everything around you. The sounds, the breeze. As you come to the edge of the forest, you see a path. Take one step forward on that path. As you move into the forest, notice the trees, the sound of your footsteps, each step on that path, moving you forward. You may hear birds. Coyote in the distance. The wind rustling through the leaves as you move forward. With each step, really take in your environment. There might be flowers, mayflowers coming up. Keep moving forward. And just up ahead in the distance, you see the shimmer, an outline, what appears to be an energetic dome, kind of blurry. You can see it shimmering when you kind of sway to the right, move to the left. As you move forward on your path towards this energetic dome, you realize it's sparkling rainbow energy light. As you move closer and closer, you can almost see through this dome, little blurred image. Inside this energetic dome is your sacred growth. It can be anywhere on Earth that you've been. It can be on a planet that you haven't been. It can be in the mountains. It can be the ocean. You keep moving forward, closer and closer. Now you're right in front of this dome, and there's a door, a gate to move inside. Take a deep breath, reach for the handle, the latch, and slowly open the door and take a step inside. Welcome to your sacred grove. Take a couple minutes to look around and really get acquainted. Take in all that you see. This is your sacred place that you can return to over and over again. By following the beat of the drum, you can return here anytime for answers, to meet spirit guides and loved ones, to connect with your sacred animals, to find your body protectors. And it can change. It doesn't have to stay the way you see it today. This is your place, your space. Take one last look around. Come back to the door. Step through the door back on the path. Make sure you turn around and close the door to your sacred grove. And make your way back down the path. Back to the meadow where we started. Come back into the room. Your feet on the floor. Body in the chair. Back into the space of the Church of the Angels. Welcome back. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I love it. So shamanic drumming, it can be a couple minutes. You can do it for 20 minutes. You can do it as long as you want. And you can have so many experiences in there. And the thing is just to let your mind expand and open up. And what I've learned is best not to try to control it, but you can. I mean, you can do whatever you want. That's your space and your space to be. So that's one of the daily rituals that, or a ritual that I do sometimes and I use for healing. And then the earth-based rituals, like I'm going to do on Wednesday, is a grief ceremony. And so a grief ceremony, what I was saying earlier, it's all earth-based and it's all coming into our bodies. And so we'll start with an altar, we'll have story time. And the one thing I've learned with grief and with any kind of emotions, especially heavy emotions. Oh, this is one thing I'll tell you too. I met a woman who is an urban shaman last Saturday. And she was talking about how she takes this light energy they call Sami, maybe it's Sami, and use it to pull into the body. And as you're doing that, you're pushing out down the dense energy into the earth through your feet. And she was saying that the earth uses that dense, what we call negative heavy energy, and uses it to rebirth new beings. So I thought that was beautiful. So we'll bring that into that practice. And so you can do that at any time too with your earthing when you're outside. We're also going to bring sound and movement. So that's one thing after we do storytelling, we'll do a little sound and movement, because that's one thing I've learned also is you got to move that energy out of your body, however you do it. Otherwise that causes illness and pain. And So moving that energy out of the body. Anytime you share anything negative, even if it's just shaking your hands, just, move that energy out of the body. So we're going to do that, and then we'll do a fire ceremony, and we're going to do it with a ceremony called wiping of the tears. And we're going to do that today as well. We still have a little bit of time. 10 minutes. Okay, great. Perfect. All right. So we're going to pass out some papers and some newspaper here. And what we're going to do is just rip it in half. And these you don't have to rip in half. These you can just take them as is. And on Zoom, if you guys have a piece of paper at home, you can wipe your own tears. This is called wiping of the tears. There's two there. We have some more. Just a second. I need to. So we're actually going to do this for one another. And this I learned from Chris. Is you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to roll it up like it's a feather. Yeah, go ahead and rip that in half. We'll do the other side too. We might as well. So go ahead and rip those in half. It's fine. So the one you're going to do like a feather. And then the other piece, once we get there. I was just going to do this one, but we'll do both. And then after service, we're going to take the prayer vessel and throw these in the fire directly after service, because we have to run as soon as we're done with that. So just hold on to these after we're done, and then after service, we'll have a little fire out there with the prayers and with this. So in the other piece, I want you to start wadding it up. And as you're wadding it up, think about everything you want to let go of today. And just really push that into the piece of paper. Well, this is bringing in the fire element and the release practice. Just let it all go and push it all into that paper. Any stresses you have, any concerns, anything that's heavy on your mind, push that right into the paper. When you're done with that, if everybody wants to stand up. So we're going to take this other piece and we're going to use to wipe each other's tears. And it looks like this. And you just want to do it a couple times and then just hold that piece of paper, because then you'll release your partner's tears into the fire later. So go right ahead, turn to the person next to you and wipe their tears. Wendeya-ho, Wendeya-ho, Wendeya, Wendeya, oh, 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 hey, ho, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can sing with us if you want. Wendeya-ho, it's a Cherokee morning song. Wendeya-ho, Wendeya, Wendeya, oh, 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 hey, ho, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wendeya-ho, Wendeya-ho, Wendeya, Wendeya, oh, 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 hey, ho, yeah, yeah, yeah. One more time. Wendeya-ho. Wendeya-ho. Wendeya. Wendeya. Oh, 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 hey, ho, hey, ho, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you just sang, I am great spirit, and it is so. When I was first introduced to the church, oh, you can sit down, right? Unless you want to dance, we can do that too. When I was first introduced to the Cherokee morning song, I heard it as the Cherokee mourning, like you were mourning. And I visualized the Cherokee women around the river because water is a process of mourning and letting it flow. And I would sing it and I would cry and I was releasing and I was in the mourning period. And then I found out it's the morning song, the awakening song. I was like, oh, that's so beautiful because now it works for both for me. So, and I am of great spirit, and it is so that can be both, it can be in mourning and in the experience of the rising of the sun, the morning, and coming into the east. And that's where we are now. We're in the east as we come into spring and moving more into summer. So I just wanted to share those with you, and I can do some workshops and get more in depth with a lot of this. And if you have any questions and want to learn more about these practices, just let me know. And thank you for allowing me to be of service, and thank you for participating, and it was amazing. I love you all so much. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna
Jimmy,
that was,
come back.
thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Are there, oh, we need the clip thing.
Oh.
Come on back up here, Deb.
Okay, I'll come back.
It's a question, comment.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times I think people think that grief only involves the death of a loved one. And I just wanted to say, from your story and from what you taught today, grief is a lot more than that. Grief is not just the death of a loved one. It can be death of a part of ourselves. It can be sadness for what's going on in the world. There's a lot of grief that we don't even recognize as grief. And, I think we need to understand that is grief and that we do need to release it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Fran. And yeah, the more I learn about grief and the more I sit with her and read about it, and grief can even be good things when we retire, because you're grieving your past self. When you move, even though it's a joyous experience and you're happy to be doing something different, you're still leaving a part of yourself behind. And they say, so even graduations, rite of passages, and that's another thing I should have brought up. In ceremony, it's really good to do ceremony with earth for each passage of each season. So as you're sending gratitude for the past season, you're saying gratitude for what's coming. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
I found it very, very interesting that your resurrection is creating a sassafras, and how you are discovering your new voice, because the sassafras group is very noted for vocal cords, and your voice, and a lot of singers drink sassafras tea to maintain their instrument.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
I thought when you said that, and I said, makes sense to me. So I didn't know if you were aware of that or not, but it was helping you find your voice.
Thank you. It makes me want to cry. That's so beautiful. I did not know that. I knew it was root beer, like they used to make root beer out of sassafras. I love root beer, but yeah. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Yes, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak back over there to that house and harvest me some roots. Or I'll have to find some other sassafras trees. I'm not in that house anymore. So yes.
I just want to say thank you for sharing knowledge and the experience that you did. As soon as you can strike from I felt it in my whole life. I was the only one. I don't think so. And I was thinking, oh, I have drums hanging on my wall that I made. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you so much. And I got goosebumps as you said that, because that is a powerful, powerful healing tool, the drum. We know. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you all. I love you all. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. That was really great. Really.